This hat is giving me a feeling that I have some very serious moves.
This hat is a beginner-friendly project. It has so many ways how to wear it. You can put the mask part on your face or you can slide it under your chin. Also, you can take off the head part and wear it as a hood, and when you are going outside or it's getting more cold again, you can put it back on your head. I will be using the Koa hat pattern, which you can get in our Etsy or online store. Links are down in the description. This pattern comes in two sizes, which is small and large. In general, I would suggest to pick small for women and large for men. However, if you cannot choose the size, I would suggest to pick size large, because even if it's loose, it will still hold very well on your head because it functions more as a hood rather than a regular hat. Here are all the pattern pieces. As you can see, the details aren't too large, so it's a very good project for scrap fabrics. I will be using this soft shell fabric, which is a leftover from my sweatsuit. It would be very good that the fabric has some stretch, because then it will be easier to get it over your head. A matching thread, of course. I will be using a serger and a sewing machine. If you don't have a serger, then no worries. You can use specific sewing machine stitches to substitute the serger stitch. You can find a video about what stitches to use in our description. Now let's start by cutting out all the details. As you can see, my fabric has quite an irregular shape. The main thing is to follow the grain line. This step will help us out so much later. Cut out the notches in the fabric around 3 to 4 millimeters deep. Or if you don't want to cut them, you can also mark them with a chalk or a marker. The notches are on the back panel detail as well as on both side panel details. After that, let's start by working with this funny looking detail. Take the finishing strip and fold it on half so the right side is towards outside. And then take the strip and place it on the mask panel's right side and place it around this curved line until that edgy looking corner. You will need to do these steps with both sides. So here's a closer look how the finishing detail should be folded. I actually never pinned the finishing detail for this method, and simply stitch right away and cut off the surplus of this finishing detail. As you can see, at this moment the seam doesn't look good at all, so I will top stitch the seam we previously made. Push the seam allowance towards the mask panel and then make a stitch around 5 millimeters apart from the previously made seam. So this is the result, and it gives such a huge difference. Press both sides. Let's use exactly the same method for the upper hem of the mask panel. Stitch folded finishing detail along the edge. After that, we should top stitch the previously made seam. I recommend to work from the right side. In this way, it is easier to control the distance. And now let's press it again. Take the side panels of the hat and place the mask with the wrong side facing the right side of the side panel. Remember those notches you previously cut. Match the upper and lower parts of the mask side edge with those notches. Pin the mask to the side panel. Take the back panel and find the notches. Lay the back panel's right side together with the mask's and side panel's right side. Pin at the places where the notches are. Stitch around this whole edge. If you are using a serger, please remember to take out the pins before stitching, because the pins under the knife might break and the knife will be destroyed. Now repeat the exact steps with the other side. Remember to match the notches. And now we need to hem the forehead. We will be using the exact same method with the finishing detail. I really like this method because it looks very like cover stitch, but you don't need a cover stitch machine for that. So we will work starting from this corner around the forehead until the other corner. And now let's top stitch again. And now let's press it. In theory, we could do this step when the hat is already finished, but it is easier to access the seams while it's sort of open. After that, let's stitch together one of the neck seams. Take the mask panel and the side panel. You will need to lay these panels with the right sides facing each other. The forehead's hemming part should match together with the mask's side hem part. Stitch from that corner up until the lower edge. Or you can also start from the lower edge up until that corner part. We are very close to the finish line, so let's hem the lower edge. You can probably guess what method we are going to use. So take the folded finishing detail and stitch it around the lower edge. After that, top stitch. And now let's press it. Lay the other side detail with the mask's side edge with the right sides facing each other. Stitch the neck seam. I will be using a tapestry needle with a big eye to hide the loose ends of the serger threads. If I would simply cut off the serger threads, the seam eventually will start to tear. Other option would be indeed to cut off those loose threads, but then immediately stitch the seam with a sewing machine's backstitch. But I chose this option because I have a fabric that's quite thick and I don't want to mess around with the sewing machine stitch. So I'm simply hiding the threads inside the seam. Now I can promise that those seams will last really long. So that's it, you can give the final press and you have finished. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for more sewing and knitting tutorials. Bye!